Come on, Piers. You just accuse him of misogyny. Like, I think that you want to stick on that topic of misogyny, not change it. Like, bro, please, Piers, please, just chill, bro, chill. That was really low, bro. Like, you're trying to pin that on him. He's not responsible for that poor girl's death. And by the way, that girl's death happened back in 2017. It didn't happen in 2022, which Piers Morgan kind of makes it seem like it did. I don't like that. That's terrible. Andrew Tate preview. Let's see what's going on here.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
To be fair, he has to kind of explain it more. It seems a little ambiguous. You can't just take it at face value, and he has explained it elaborately. So it's out there.
Well, this summer, every major social media platform banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
say.
For
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That doesn't really sound like misogyny, honestly.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
Well, what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old women.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Come on, Piers. You just accuse him of misogyny. Like, I think that you want to stick on that topic of misogyny, not change it.
That's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at certain
What the? Oh my gosh.
Age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely.
Is that
not.
But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny.
Yeah. Well. Oh my gosh. Come on. See, this is. I know. I get what Piers Morgan is trying to do. He's trying to apply pressure and he's trying to be a reporter. But come on, bro. At least try to stay on the topic. If you're gonna accuse somebody of being a misogyny, don't switch it to being ageist or that's anti-25-year-old. What does that have to do with misogyny?
No, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments, would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world.
Yeah, honestly, unfortunately, this is kind of the case, man. And I think that all you have to do is just really look at the testimonies of like 20, not 20, like people in their 50s and 60s. Like they'll talk about how they get replaced by like younger employees, and you know, they talk about how unfair that is, and I can see how that could be unfair. Like, you know, you're judging somebody based off of like what age they are, which is unfortunate. It's not so. It's ideally it's not supposed to be like that, but unfortunately, the reality is that it is like that, and I think these are problems that should be talked about. But since right now men are the ones that are going through the crisis right now, slowly, then the attention is being directed towards that direction. So let's see what else they gotta say.
That believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you?
I was mediating.
Piers, I don't know if these are just cuts, because he's always interrupting Andrew Tate, but please let the man speak. I want to hear what he's gonna say.
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
Bro, please, Piers, please, just chill, bro, chill.
the reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say,
Oh my God, please tell me that he's not interrupting. He is interrupting, isn't he? Piers, come on, man, come on, keep it together.
Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight,
I wouldn't be surprised if it just ends right now. Like, all right, guys, folks, that's the end of the show. And Andrew, pleasure to have you here. I can guarantee, like, I don't know why I feel like that's the ending. That would be the ending.
I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world.
What? You would respect him more if he said that. Bro, that sounds like something Piers Morgans would say. That's not something Andrew Tate would say, because he doesn't have your philosophy. This is why, like, I want him to speak. I want to see what he wants to say. Please, Piers, let him speak.
So I'm not sorry.
I think
That doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
What does that have to do with Andrew Tate, though?
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right.
Not only that, dude, that girl, Molly Russell, the reason why she ended up offing herself was because she was looking at offing yourself content on Pinterest and on, I think, Facebook or Instagram. I don't remember which one. But I know for sure on Pinterest that was a big one, because they were talking, like, I read the article, and the article said that, like, she kept like saving and liking that kind of content, that self-harming content, and it kind of like produced more of it the more she liked it and the more she was interested in it. So in a way, and knowing Pinterest, listen, bro, Pinterest, it romanticizes anything you search for. So when you search up self-harming content, it romanticizes it. It makes it look nice because of the photography and the colors. And I've been on Pinterest, and I love Pinterest because of the way everything is just, the photos, everything looks, it just looks amazing. But I mean, how are you putting this on Andrew Tate, though? Like, I mean, I get it that Andrew Tate does create some really like some content that is definitely harmful to women because of the way he phrases it, but I think that, like, when you brought up Molly Russell, I think that was really low, bro. Like, you're trying to pin that on him. He's not responsible for that poor girl's death. And by the way, that girl's death happened back in 2017. It didn't happen in 2022, which Piers Morgan kind of makes it seem like it did. I don't like that. That's terrible.
Right,
terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad.
Oh, here's one more thing, okay? Here's the thing, okay? Now, we can't completely blame Andrew Tate because guess what? There's going to be other people who are going to be spreading his content, and not only that, they're going to be chopping up his content in a certain way where it makes it seem like he's kind of has this like very like prejudice view on women, which can definitely be harmful to women. So it's not Andrew Tate. It's I would say it's mostly how other people characterize Andrew Tate and how they clip his live streams or his streams, and then they take a piece of it and they make it seem like this is what he's saying. That can also be potentially harmful to women. So it's not Andrew Tate as much as it is people who are cutting up that content and putting it out there for people to see. Think about it, bro. They ended up cutting out a certain segment from this one video where he's talking about how he will never resuscitate a guy because he got a heart attack. And in there, it says that he's gonna, I think in that same video, he talked about how if, I think a woman cheats on him, he would grab her by the throat and I think he would smack her or something like that. I might be wrong about that. But just clipping that little part right there and not like allowing the full context to be expressed, it kind of seems like he's a misogynist, and just that little part right there would probably make a woman feel terrible about herself and make her feel shame. So I think it's not just Andrew Tate. I would say it's much more the other content creators who are just trying to push a narrative that he's a misogynist, and they'll take any little clip and just make it seem a lot worse than what it actually is.
The world we live in today is the fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say it differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's
absolutely, you have to say it differently because not everybody's going to interpret it the same way, and most importantly, there's going to be other people out there who are going to clip your clips and they're going to take you out of context because of the unfortunate way you're phrasing it.
It's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life. And
I think he should also express how sometimes he'll have a deep conversation with somebody and things will get a little bit heated, and then during that time when things get heated, he might say something that he didn't mean to say in that way. He probably meant to say it in another way, but it's kind of difficult to keep your ground when so many people are wanting to take you out of context and you have to defend yourself. I wish he would kind of just like say that at the same as well as what he's about to say now, so then we can also understand that it's very difficult to be under pressure.
I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Yep. Yeah, dude, that is, I agree with that, because a lot of the time, it's not even just the kids too as well. It's to adults, young adults, middle-aged adults, because look just what happened at January 6th. Like, that was all misinformation right there, the majority of it. Look what happens with like our men when they listen to content online. It makes them feel like crap. It makes them feel like they're not wanted in society. The next thing that's gonna happen is gonna be towards women. Women are probably gonna feel lonely in the future, because the narrative seems like it's shifting towards that way. So 2030, it's coming, and a lot of people are gonna be feeling lonely, including women. So who knows? But is that it? Yeah, it is. So guys, that's just a preview of what's gonna come. I can't wait to watch the Andrew Tate special with Piers Morgan. I just kind of wish he would just let him talk. I think it's important to, in order for us to understand who Andrew Tate is, we have to listen to his philosophy. And unfortunately, Piers Morgan wasn't exactly doing that. But I still applaud Piers Morgan for bringing him on. I think that's awesome. That's a great step towards understanding who Andrew Tate is, and hopefully we can see some change and understand each other a little more. So yeah, can't wait for that.